I turned my next
Oh,
alarm off. Okay, we're back, guys. So the alarm kicked.
okay, we're back.
The
And I want
everybody
to,
heard you, and I'll add that one because you were, and I was reading your lips. God, what a thank God I can
I
do
know,
that.
and it was so serious as well, so we won't go there
No,
again, but hopefully everyone
no,
heard it.
it was
But,
great, and I loved it. And I'm over here reading. That's why I was moving. I thought, welcome to technology. But what, and we'll upload it in the two parts so everyone can get that because the story is
right.
about your children. I had a teacher say this to me the other day. She was only able to ever have one child. She's a dear friend of me, and I mean the other day, it could be last week or last year. Um,
Mm.
but she's told me this before. And physically, her body, like it was a feat. She got the one, and she said, someone told me, just like your little girl that was telling you her viewpoint on life, because out of the mouths of babes really does come the truth.
Mhm.
And she said, it's okay because you've had all of these kids.
Mhm.
And she was just like, and she taught long enough to have had one round of children, have taught their children. Of course, she taught siblings in between. She
Mhm.
said, I've been to graduations, wedding showers, weddings, baby showers. And she said, really, and she adores her child, and they have this, they have a wonderful relationship. But she, much as you, was like, I wanted a house full.
Mhm.
And then a child reminded her, but you got all these children.
Absolutely. And I don't feel I've missed out. I actually feel it's almost been a positive because I have got to raise thousands of children and I didn't have all the responsibility, all the other heart. I've had a lot of heartache working with
Yeah.
kids, but I didn't have that major responsibility, if that makes sense. I could walk away and go on a holiday or whatever, but I still got to love children. I still got to
Yes.
love thousands. And that's when people tell me, oh, do you have kids? I used to joke and go, yeah, I've got a couple of thousand. When I did work at schools with a couple of thousand, and they're like, what?
They're like,
But I
where are you
wanted
from?
to I wanted to do a 360 back to just human connection because before Robin and I signed on, can I just say Robin is the most chill person I've ever met in my entire life, and she takes my abrupt mood this morning. Like Robin wanted to do a podcast about the workplace, and I just wanted to keep it like what we're doing right now, more ambiguous, like but talking about the same thing, human connection, because and we will absolutely do a podcast about workplaces because I have gone through bullying in the workplace. I'm not sure about you, Robin, but it is very stressful. It can cause you so much harm to your body, like medically, health wise. It's horrendous. So we will do a podcast on that. It's just we're just going to have to think of a good time for it. But going back to
Well, we have
so
to be
thank
organic. If it's not good for
yeah.
both of us that morning, well, hell, we'll just rename it. That's how I
But
feel about it. Roll with it.
thank you for your patience and thank you for understanding. But
Always.
going back to the human connection though, because I think it is very important, and I think you're right. I don't think a lot of people these days they don't understand friendship. Like what is friendship to you, Robin?
Friendship to me is so I saw this thing on Facebook, and it explains it so well. It said live by the funeral rule. So if you have a death in your family, right? Like immediately when you're at the funeral and afterwards at the wake, whatever someone chooses. I want to wake people. Hell, people now don't even know what that is, but we'll get to that on a different topic one day. I'm like, oh, low, but okay. Anyway, um, they said live by the funeral rule. When there's a funeral in your family, it's been devastating to you, and you're there, you're going through it. Stop. Look around that room. Look at the people that are coloring in the floor with your children. doing the dishes, greeting guests, putting food away, that are tending to the things so that you don't have to. Look at that room in a funeral in your life. Look at who said, I'm here. Look at who was the first person, and I'm going to say text because now everything is so much communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we used to have the telly on the wall, and now we have the telly in our hand. So, um, you know, but it was like, watch the response of the people in your life. Those are your, like in the military, who's your six? Because typically there's 6 to 8 people on a team,
Mm-hmm.
right? So who's your six? You know, and one
Yeah.
of those things, really, I find what I want is connection,
Mm-hmm.
showing up. I need your presence in my life. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
presence. And I want the good, the bad, the ugly, the raw. You call me when you're snot slinging, pouring, crying, can't even intelligibly make sense in the living room floor. And you
Mm-hmm.
call me when you get the promotion or
Mm-hmm.
you got proposed to. Like, I want it all. I am my husband calls me the all in. He's like, you're just there for literally every aspect of your people's life and you want to be there. He was like, and you're almost soul crushed if you're not, because he's like, even if like you were the second tier or whatever, like when bad things happen, because obviously, you know, family steps in or whatever, he's like, you're the first with food. You're the first with, you know, do you need me to bring you something at the hospital? You know, he said, you know, you cook for everyone, Robin. And I'm like, I know, it's a Southern thing. You just feed them. In bad times, you just feed them. You don't know what else to do? Feed them, right? Send a
Do you
casserole.
understand how powerful that is, though? I mean, from my point of view, that time I came to Midland, um, it was my birthday, right? Was it my birthday?
Hmm.
Yeah, it
Yes,
was my
and you
birthday,
were
and I
supposed to
just
go to Austin, remember?
I think so. I can't, do you know, I can't remember, but I knew that, you know, I survived in Dallas 5 years with basically one friend, and you know, she had kids, so she couldn't be there a lot. So Dallas was a very, very lonely place for me, and not like, and Midland was incredible because, you know, I met these incredible people, and it's definitely the people that make the place. You know, you have to have that social connection, and I just did not have it in Dallas. So yeah, I got in the car and drove to Midland, and I hope you realize that you made that birthday for me. Like, you showing up with your husband, like, made that birthday. And when someone does that, when someone shows up for you and someone goes that extra mile, you never forget it. And it's very, very important. And you never forget it. And that ended up being a fantastic memory. Even though you guys were at the meal and then you went home and we went dancing, that didn't matter. You single-handedly made me feel so loved that night. I had the best time ever when I went out.
Well, and
And
you
then I
got to meet a ginger
drove
chicken.
home. See that? Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. That's right. That's yes. And then
He
I
said,
got
that's
to
your
see your
chicken twin.
farm. See how bad my memory is. For those of
Yes.
you who are watching, and please like chip in on this, I have hemochromatosis, which is a genetic disorder. It's called the Celtic curse, if you want to Google it. And it's a buildup of iron in the system. That's nothing to do with the emergency surgery I had in November, and I'm not a sickly person at all. I'm normally very healthy and hike every day and that kind of thing, and eat very healthy foods. And anyway, it messes with my memory. So when Robin just said, "Remember you came to the farm," I thought that's terrible, but you know, the focus was on, you know, her being at the dinner, so I was totally not remembering the farm, but that was incredible. That was
Well,
incredible.
so when you ask me, it's the little things.
Yes.
If you see something and you're like, oh my gosh, this made me think of you, and you send a TikTok, a link, it's just about appearing in people's lives. But
Mhm.
you have to be there when it's shattered on the kitchen floor in pieces, as
Yeah.
well as the celebrations, because you will always have more people. That's the best thing about that funeral rule, is that there will always be tenfold at a celebration than
Mhm.
when you're like not okay.
And when people show up for you, it's incredible. But it's when they don't show up for you.
That's also incredible. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, you learn. Like, my mama used to always tell us every person in your life is a lesson or a blessing,
Hmm.
but the lessons usually bring the biggest blessings.
Let
And that's true, because
excuse me.
you don't learn from the good stuff, you learn
Hmm.
from the hard stuff.
Let me ask you this. Someone asked me this once, and I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was a psychologist in Washington, D.C., that asked me this. And I don't think I've ever asked you this question. I hope not, because for me, it was a big, oh, like moment, like, wow, that was so deep. And let's see, the viewers out there as well. Robin, when can you think, right, when talking to people, who can you name that you feel has truly, truly listened to you and heard you?
That's easy. I will always say Kristen first. I mean, but we have had each other since I was 11, and actually spent 2 hours on the phone last night. We don't talk as often as we have,
Who's
always
Chris?
growing.
Who's Kristen? Is that your sister?
We call her sister, because
Okay.
biologically she is not my sister, but
Right.
um due to home setups in both areas and dynamics, we're sisters.
Right.
Just period. That's just how it is. And that's Aunt Kristen, that's everything to my kids. But I mean, honestly, I can, I tell my kids, if you can count people you will know that will show up for you, and if you have five people.
I do the magic five people, but I want to jump back to feeling heard and being listened to very quickly.
Oh yeah.
Because you said right away, you said Kristen. Is
Mhm.
there anyone else? Because when I was asked that question, right, I had to really think. And can you believe the first time I was truly listened to, that I could remember, I was 32 years old, and I was on like a it was this amazing trek thing. It was Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, right? And I went and joined this group of people, flew to Vietnam. I was working in the Middle East at the time. But there was this man in the group. It was him and his wife. And we were out in Cambodia one night, and I ended up sitting at his table. And I think his wife turned around and was speaking to someone else. But do you know, he started speaking to me, but he actually looked into my eyes. He wasn't on his phone. He wasn't looking around. He was actually so focused on me and asking me questions about my life, and listening and not interrupting me anything. And that was the first time I remember being truly listened to and heard. I was 32 years old,
Oh my God. I
right?
can I can honestly say, and I'm quick with sister, because I can say the same for her. I can say it about several people in my life.
Hmm.
And I think that's a blessing. But when it comes to, like, what movie is it? The Accountant or something? Ben Affleck. We're gonna do some things. I don't need you to ask any questions. Everybody always shares that little clip, and it's so funny. But and they're like, who's your call? Or who's
Uh-huh.
my Mary Ann from that song? Um, Earl had to Earl had to die. That's so funny. Who's your Marianne? Well, I saw those a while back. When those were Who's Your Marianne, and I was thinking, oh, and I was thinking, man, I could 5 people, boom, right? But really, the down with it, my whole life basically, we're 40 years into this, her and I. She would never question it. If I said, I need you to come, she would sleep in the living room floor with me while I was crying. She's done it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that is so weird you bring it up, because we were actually just talking about that last night, about how she and I, she was like, we don't talk as much as we used to. She was like, I don't want to text you, but she works like a crazy person. I work
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit less crazy person. But, like last night, and that's what I was telling her. I said, my goal for 2026 was to carve time, spaces of time when I did my vision board,
Mm-hmm.
etc. I said, because time is fleeing.
Mm-hmm.
I post that about my children and my grandchildren. Time is a thief. It is a thief. It steals from you every day. So if
Mm-hmm.
you can connect, like you said, you spoke to someone and you had never had someone just want to hear you.
No, and listen.
And get, like, absorb
Actually,
it.
truly
Yes.
listen. Yeah, truly 110% focused on what you were saying.
Oh, yes. And that's so fleeting and rare,
And
especially now.
since that happened to me as well, I try when someone needs to talk to me, I get rid of the phone, I get rid of everything, and I try and sit and look at them because I remember how I felt the day Poe, his name's Poe. I remember how I felt the day Poe did that. And there's two different people. There's a man called Dominic in my life as well, and he was the second person that has truly listened, like heard me, like my entire life. I'm so lucky to have these two strong older men in my life, and I thought that was interesting as well that it was men. But we're running out of time, so we're gonna have to wrap this up, girl.
I know. But
I
yes, I do
know.
think that people need to, like I was talking about carving out a time, they need to carve
Mhm.
out connection time.
Absolutely, and the really going back to the what we've kind of gave the viewers today, not only like this discussion, but 5 people. That's all you need in your life. I wish I'd known that years and years and years ago because I used to gather a group of people. It was too much. I was giving a little bit of myself to everyone, and I never had that connection. I never had that true connection, and until someone told me the 5. And even the first thing I did on the 1st of January is write down 5 names, and I am being focused. And even, my friends are all over the place. I met a girl in the summer from Canada, and I said to her, right, when can we do a weekly video? I really want to stay connected to you. And I think she really appreciated that. I did. I know I appreciate her time. And I feel like her and I are bonding more as well doing that. But
Oh, I totally agree. And one thing I think people need to remember is, I already said this, there will always be
excuse
mass at the happy, but focus. And you have to have your core, right? That's what I call them. So, like Justin and I describe it like this. Here's our bubble.
excuse me. Mm-hmm.
This is our family, us, the kids, grandkids. And then here's this layer, that's the next bubble. Here's that layer, that's the next bubble. And then here's that layer. So you always have 3 layers outside of your bubble. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the closeness. And if you
Mm-hmm.
notice, you start seeing where people fit. And I love that if you really watch people, I try to teach the kids and everybody this, they have seasons. And when you have your bubbles, they'll float. Most people, because they're having their own seasons, let them. But in this bubble out here, your big bubble, you will always have friends, but they're surface friends.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get in the nitty gritty with you.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and then you have your second tier, right? And those are people who sometimes are in for the down and dirty, right?
Mhm.
And then you have your first bubble, and that is your core. Your
Mhm.
family is your immediate, that's the like the core of the earth is how I look at it. And then you
But you
have
got to
this one.
remember, those of us who don't have family, we have the close friends as our family.
Well, that's but family is what you make it. I don't think it's
Yeah,
DNA. I don't think
absolutely,
it's DNA at all. So
absolutely.
this little bubble right here, that's
Yeah,
your
I think
family
you're
is
lucky to have that. But we have to wrap up.
all right.
Okay.
So love you. Have a beautiful week.
Buona giornata.
Y'all have a great week and hit us with what you want to hear next week.
Absolutely. See you
Stay
later.
on. I'm going to
Bye.
hit end.
Okay.